I was standing in the security line at Miami International Airport at 5:30 in the morning, exhausted from barely sleeping the night before, when a man in a dark uniform grabbed my elbow. The terminal buzzed with early travelers, families herding sleepy children, business people clutching coffee cups, the endless beep of boarding passes being scanned. I'd been going over our itinerary in my head, 2 weeks in Costa Rica. My son Daniel had planned everything, the resort, the excursions, the flights. All I had to do was show up, then everything stopped. "Mrs. Rivera," the man said quietly, his voice low and urgent, "pretend I'm arresting you. Your life depends on it." Before I could react, he flashed a badge, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Agent Marcus Cole. My heart stopped. Behind me, Daniel's voice rose in alarm. "Mom. What's going on?" I turned to look at my son, 38 years old, wearing the polo shirt I'd bought him for his birthday. His face showed confusion, concern, maybe something else I couldn't quite read. "It's all right," Agent Cole said smoothly to him. "Just routine security. She'll be back shortly." He guided me through a side door marked "Authorized Personnel Only" and down a gray corridor that smelled like industrial cleaner and burnt coffee. My pulse hammered. We ended up in a windowless office with 2 metal chairs and a table bolted to the floor. "Sit down, please," he said. His tone had shifted from urgent to grim. "What is this about?" I demanded, my voice shaking. "I haven't done anything wrong." He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said the words that shattered my world. "Your son is planning to have you declared legally incompetent in Costa Rica. He's going to have you committed to a psychiatric facility there and take control of your assets." I stared at him. The room seemed to tilt. "That's impossible." "I wish it were," he said quietly. "We've had you under surveillance for 72 hours. We have evidence." I couldn't breathe. Daniel, my name is Carmen Rivera. I'm 67 years old. I spent the last 40 years building Rivera Property Management from a single duplex in Little Havana into a portfolio of 18 rental properties across South Florida. Worth approximately $4.2 million. My husband Louis died 3 years ago, heart attack. Sudden, one day he was here, the next he wasn't. We'd planned to retire together, travel, see the world. Instead, I scattered his ashes in Biscayne Bay alone. After Louis died, Daniel became more involved. He'd lived in Orlando for 15 years, barely visiting. Suddenly he was calling weekly, visiting monthly. Offering to help with the properties. I was grateful. I was lonely. I wanted my son back in my life. 6 weeks ago, Daniel suggested this trip. "Mom, you need a break. Let's go to Costa Rica, just you and me. Reconnect." I'd been so touched, so hopeful. But 2 months before Louis died, my husband pulled me aside one evening and said something I didn't want to hear. "Carmen, I'm worried about Daniel. He's been asking too many questions about the properties, about our accounts, about the will. Be careful." "You're being paranoid," I'd told him. "Daniel's finally trying to be part of this family again." Louis had looked at me with those tired eyes and said, "I hope you're right. But please, don't sign anything without having our attorney review it first." Now, sitting across from Agent Cole in that cold little room, I realized I should have listened. "Show me," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. Agent Cole reached for a laptop on the table and turned it toward me. The screen flickered to life. "This was recorded yesterday," he said. "In your son's hotel room here in Miami." I leaned forward, my hands trembling. The video began to play. The timestamp read 6:47 p.m., 24 hours ago. Daniel sat at a desk in a hotel room, on the phone, speaking to someone I couldn't see. His voice came through clearly. "Yes, the psychiatrist in San Jose is ready, Dr. Vargas. He'll evaluate her and sign the commitment papers. We just need to get her there." My stomach dropped. "The competency hearing is scheduled for 3 days after we arrive. Judge Morales has reviewed the medical reports we provided. He's sympathetic." "What medical reports?" "I'd never seen a psychiatrist, never been evaluated," Daniel continued. "Once she's committed, the Costa Rican court will grant me guardianship. Then I can access the accounts and liquidate the properties." He paused, listening to the person on the other end. "No, she doesn't suspect anything. She thinks we're going on vacation. She trusts me completely." The video ended. I felt like I was going to be sick. "Who was he talking to?" I whispered. Agent Cole pulled up another document. His business partner, Marcus Webb. "They've been planning this for 8 months. 8 months? Your son has significant gambling debts, over $600,000 owed to people who don't accept payment plans. The room spun. How did you know to watch him? 3 weeks ago, one of your tenants contacted our financial crimes unit. She witnessed Daniel pressuring you to sign documents. We opened an investigation. I remembered. Mrs. Chen from the Coral Gables property, I thought she was just being nosy when she'd asked if I was okay. What happens now? I asked. Agent Cole leaned forward. 2 options. 1, we arrest him right now. But his lawyers will argue he was just researching options for your care, that the conversations were taken out of context. And option 2, you get on that plane, we equip you with surveillance equipment. You let him proceed with his plan. When he actually attempts to have you committed, we'll have undeniable evidence. My pulse hammered. You want me to let him try, Mrs. Rivera? If we arrest him now with what we have, he'll likely get probation. Maybe community service. He'll come back and try again differently. But if we catch him in the act in Costa Rica with foreign authorities cooperating, he'll face federal charges. 10 to 20 years minimum. And if something goes wrong, a woman stepped into the room, sharp suit, calm presence. I'm Agent Lisa Martinez. I'll be undercover on your flight and in Costa Rica. You won't see me, but I'll be within 10 feet of you at all times. We will not let anything happen to you, Mrs. Rivera. 20 minutes later, FBI technicians fitted me with a micro GPS tracker sewn into my jacket lining, a panic button disguised as a pendant on my necklace, and a recording device clipped inside my collar. Agent Cole walked me to the door. If you board that plane, you're putting your life in our hands, but it's the only way to make sure he never tries this again. I took a deep breath. In 1 hour, I would sit across from my son, knowing he planned to have me locked away in a foreign country. If you're still with me, comment truth below, because what happens next will shock you. Daniel rushed toward me the moment I appeared at the gate, his face a perfect mask of concern. Mom, are you okay? What did they want? Around us, passengers lined up for boarding. A mother struggled with a stroller. A businessman argued on his phone. Gate agents checked passes with mechanical efficiency. I forced a smile. Just routine questions about my medication, nothing to worry about. His eyes studied my face. Did they search your bag? They asked a few questions, that's all. He relaxed slightly. Good, I was worried. Come sit down, you must be exhausted. He guided me back to our seats near the gate. I noticed his hand was shaking slightly. 20 minutes later, we boarded. The flight attendant greeting passengers at the door was a woman in her early 30s with dark hair. Her name tag read Sophia. As I passed, she gave me the smallest nod. Another FBI agent. Our seats were in first class. Daniel had insisted on upgrading. You deserve it, Mom. This is your special trip. I settled into my seat. The leather was cool. The cabin smelled like expensive cologne and recycled air. 3 rows behind us, I spotted Agent Martinez. She wore oversized glasses and a blazer. She looked exactly like a business consultant. Our eyes met for half a second. The plane lifted off. I felt the pressure change in my ears as we climbed. I glanced out the window. Miami stretched below us, getting smaller. I was trapped in a metal tube at 35,000 feet with the sun who wanted to lock me away. The first attempt came 30 minutes into the flight. Daniel ordered drinks. Mom, let me get you a mimosa. You love mimosas. Actually, I'll just have water. Sealed, please. His jaw tightened. Mom, we're on vacation. Relax a little. I don't drink alcohol on morning flights, honey. The flight attendant, Sophia, the FBI agent, brought me an unopened bottle of water. I cracked the seal myself. 2 hours in, Daniel pulled out his laptop. Mom, I need you to look at something, just some paperwork for the properties. He turned the screen toward me, a power of attorney document. What is this? Just standard stuff, in case something happens while we're traveling. So I can handle any emergencies with the properties. I read the fine print. It granted him complete control over my assets. Immediately, I'll have my attorney review it when we get back, I said, his face darkened. Mom, you don't trust me? I trust my attorney. He closed the laptop. Hard. 3 hours in, he tried again. Mom, I've been thinking, when we get to Costa Rica, maybe we should stop by a doctor, get you checked out. You've seemed forgetful lately. My blood ran cold. This was it, the setup. I feel fine. But Mom, last week you forgot Mrs. Chen's rent was due, and you called me by Dad's name twice. I'd never forgotten Mrs. Chen's rent. And I'd never called Daniel by his father's name. He was creating a medical history that didn't exist. I'm fine, Daniel. Just one checkup. I already made an appointment with a great doctor in San Jose, Dr. Vargas. He specializes in memory issues. The psychiatrist from the video, cancel it, I don't need a doctor. His voice turned sharp. Mom, I'm worried about you, you're not yourself lately. I said no. He stared at me, then forced a smile. Okay, we'll talk about it later. When the plane landed in San Jose, I felt the humidity hit me like a wall. Costa Rica, beautiful, dangerous. We took a taxi to the resort, lush rainforest, ocean views, paradise. Daniel checked us into adjoining rooms. So I can keep an eye on you, Mom. Make sure you're comfortable. That night, he knocked on my door. Mom, let's have dinner, celebrate our first night. The restaurant was on the beach, candles, ocean breeze, romantic setting for a mother and son who were really predator and prey. He ordered wine. Mom, I really think you should see Dr. Vargas tomorrow just to be safe. I told you no. Mom, please, I'm your son, I'm trying to help you. I looked into his eyes, my baby boy. The child I'd rocked to sleep, who'd learned to walk holding my hands, and I saw a stranger. Why are you doing this? I asked quietly. He froze. Doing what? Why do you want me declared incompetent? The color drained from his face. I don't. What are you talking about? I leaned forward. I know about the gambling debts. I know about Marcus Webb. I know about the plan to have me committed. He stood so fast his chair fell backward. Who told you that? It doesn't matter. His face twisted. Panic, calculation, then something cold. You're confused, Mom. This is exactly why you need to see Dr. Vargas. You're having paranoid delusions. No, Daniel. I'm seeing clearly for the first time in 3 years. He pulled out his phone, started texting frantically. Within 5 minutes, 2 men appeared, uniformed security. Daniel spoke to them in Spanish. I caught enough words. My mother, confused, medical emergency psychiatrist. They reached for my arms. I pressed the panic button on my necklace. The security guards froze as 6 people surrounded our table. Agent Martinez, Agent Cole. 4 Costa Rican federal officers. Señor Rivera, one officer said in perfect English, you are under arrest for conspiracy to commit fraud and attempted illegal guardianship proceedings. Daniel's face went white. They handcuffed him right there on the beach while tourists watched. He looked at me. Mom, please, I'm your son. Tell them this is a mistake. I stood, looked down at him. You stopped being my son when you decided I was worth more locked away than free. They led him away. I sat back down at the table. The ocean breeze carried the scent of salt and flowers, paradise, but I felt nothing but empty. The next day, I sat in a Costa Rican police station across from my son. He was handcuffed. His expensive polo shirt wrinkled, his face pale. Why? I asked. Why would you do this? He stared at the table for a long time, then everything poured out. The gambling started 5 years ago, sports betting, then casinos, then poker. He'd lost everything, his house, his savings. His wife left him 2 years ago. I owed $600,000, he said, voice breaking, to people who threatened to kill me if I didn't pay. You could have asked me for help. I was ashamed. So instead you decided to have me locked away. He looked up. Tears streaming. I told myself I'd take care of you, that the facility would be nice, that you'd be safe and cared for. While you stole everything Dad and I built, I didn't see another way. I leaned forward. There's always another way. You chose the easy one, the cruel one. The Costa Rican authorities worked with the FBI. Daniel faced charges in both countries: attempted fraud, conspiracy, forgery of medical documents. He'd created fake psychiatric evaluations claiming I had dementia, paid Dr. Vargas to sign commitment papers without ever examining me, bribed a judge to schedule a guardianship hearing. All to steal $4.2 million. The trial lasted 3 weeks. I testified, played the recordings, showed the evidence. Daniel's lawyer argued he was desperate, that he never meant real harm, that he planned to care for me. The judge didn't buy it. Señor Rivera, you conspired to have your elderly mother declared mentally incompetent in a foreign country where she couldn't defend herself. You forged medical documents. You bribed officials. This was calculated, cruel. Sentencing 15 years, no parole for the first 7. Daniel looked at me across the courtroom. Mom, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I stood, walked to the microphone for my victim statement. Your Honor, I raised this man alone after his father worked himself to death building something for our family. I gave him everything: education, love, opportunities. I looked at Daniel. He repaid me by trying to lock me away like I was already dead, not for my care, for my money. I paused. I've thought a lot about forgiveness, and I do forgive him. I forgive the desperate man who owed dangerous people. But I can't forgive the calculating man who chose to destroy his mother rather than ask for help. I turned to the judge. He deserves every year of this sentence. Maybe in 15 years he'll understand what family really means. As they led him away, Daniel called out, "Mom, please don't abandon me." I walked out without answering. 6 months later, I stood in my backyard in Miami. Mrs. Chen, my tenant, was there, the woman who'd saved my life by calling the FBI. "Thank you," I told her. "For paying attention, for caring." She squeezed my hand. "I have a son too. I'd want someone to help me." I'd used Daniel's situation to start the Luis Rivera Second Chance Fund, helping people drowning in debt find legal solutions. In 6 months, we'd helped 32 families. One letter stood out: "You saved my life. I was about to do something terrible to my parents for money. Your fund gave me another option. Thank you." That letter meant everything. I still think about Daniel every day, but I don't regret pressing charges. Love doesn't mean enabling. Sometimes it means holding people accountable. I got a letter from him last week, 4 pages, handwritten. He's in therapy teaching GED classes to other inmates. "I'm trying to become someone Dad would be proud of," he wrote. "Someone you might forgive someday." I don't know if I'll ever visit him, if I'll ever rebuild that relationship, but I've learned something crucial. Family isn't defined by blood, it's defined by loyalty, by trust. By showing up when there's nothing to gain. Mrs. Chen showed up, the FBI agents showed up, my attorney showed up. Daniel showed up only when he wanted something, and that's the difference. If you're still reading, comment family below, because this lesson could save your life. Looking back, I see the signs I missed. The sudden interest after years of distance, the pressure to sign documents, the way he isolated me from my attorney. But I was lonely, I was grieving. And I wanted desperately to believe my son loved me. That's how they get you, not with force, with hope. My advice: if someone who's been distant suddenly becomes your best friend when you have money, ask why, not with anger, with honesty. Set boundaries, trust your instincts, and never ever sign documents without your attorney reviewing them first. I lost my son, but I kept my freedom, my dignity, my life, and sometimes that's the only victory you get. This story contains dramatized elements, but the lesson is real. Protect yourself, even from family, especially from family. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories about family, betrayal, and survival. Next target could be you.